Hello and welcome to today's webinar on parenting. We are all facing these challenging times as parents, as caregivers, and especially now, what is this parenting game which we play with the children is taking a new shape. So, keeping in line with these challenging and difficult times, we have with us our eminent speakers, Mr. Shantiswaroop and Mrs. Meera Swaroop. So they have brought to us a few strategies. They are going to share with us a few techniques which will be very useful for all of us as parents going forward. So let me introduce Mr. Shantiswaroop, who is a counseling psychologist and behavioral trainer. He has an organization called Lavender Education and Training. He has championed the Happy Family Positive Parenting Program, which is a series of on-site and online workshops. He's also holds training and teaching experience in personality development, soft skills training, performance management, teacher training, education curriculum, and guidance counseling. He lives in Warangal, but he's a certified and positive discipline educator which has been approved from the National Board of Certified Counselors in USA, and he's a certified practitioner of MMPIC, which is a psychometric personality assessment for children from Center for Applications of Psychological Type. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Shantiswaroop. It's an honor to have you on.
Thank you, Purnima. It's my pleasure.
So we also have with us Meera Swaroop, who is the founder of SANSKRUTI KIDZ. So Meera is a learning-oriented individual with 11 years of teaching and administrative experience, and she's an expert in childhood education, curriculum development, and teacher training. So she's played a major role in designing and conceptualizing the Happy Family Positive Parenting Program, which has been pioneered by Shantiswaroop. She successfully designed and delivered workshops for teachers on early childhood education, phonetic teaching, communication skills, creating resources for learning and development, classroom management, project-based learning, storytelling and theatre for various institutes across India. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Shantiswaroop and Mrs. Meera Swaroop. It's a great honor to have you with us.
Thank you.
Especially during these challenging times, like we have a lot of queries from parents who have joined us today for this webinar. We have received a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls from the wellness team has received a lot of phone calls, emails, and queries. And we really appreciate your time, the time which you are spending here in the midst of your series of workshops. So let me just begin with my first question. So the first question which we've received, which is also a generic question, which is also a very specific question from a lot of parents, is usually children are associated with play. Children go out and have fun, they play. They have a lot of social interaction with their peers in school. They have a lot of social interaction with their neighbors. They have a lot of play-oriented learning associated with them. And nowadays, schools are slowly transitioning to online classes, online education, because of course, this severe pandemic which we are struck with. And to top it, working parents like us are also, we also have to focus a lot of time and energy to our work, which is also corporate work, which is work from home situation. So how do we balance all of this? How do we, it's a very simple question. How can I handle this work-life balance? 2 months ago, it looked like a very simple question, but today as a parent, how do I handle my work-life balance looks very challenging. And how does a child handle it, most importantly? So let's begin with this very broad question, and then let me go on to the other questions which I've come up with.
Right. Yes, as you said, it's a broad question. So let me try my best. See, I don't want to give you any principles and strategies kind of thing. What I would like to do is, we have two kids, two daughters. One is 11 and one is 9. And what we are doing there, whatever we are doing with our kids, I'll be sharing those things with you. And I request the viewers, like, take these things and then think how they can fit these things into their environment, and how they can use these things with their kids. That's my request. So let me share what we are doing in our family as parents with our kids. So, hi Purnima, and then I really, as you said, this is a very broad question. Yes, and see, we don't want to share some principles and strategies and parenting things like that. What we're gonna do here is we will just share what we are doing as parents in our family, and I request viewers to take these things and listen and see how these things fit into their environment, and how can they do these things with their kids. So that's my request. But here in the question, I can say there are two things. One is handling kids at home. That's one thing. And second, this online classes, which is happening. It's across the globe. Kids are at home and then they're learning. School is happening online. So these two are a bit separate things. Let me first start with handling children, and then I'll go to this online classes. I'll just share my opinion on that. So handling kids at home during this lockdown period. See, when this lockdown broke down in the first or second week of March, we could see that pattern in home. Like kids, they're just waking up the way they want at 9 and 10 and 11. And we could see them in front of the TV. They're just glued to the TV or a mobile, and that was continuing actually. And we saw that happening for a week, and we thought, okay, fine, we need to do something to handle this. I mean, like, this is going out of hand. We thought, and then both of us, we sat with our kids. Actually, we sat with our kids and we asked them, like, we noticed that this is happening at home, and like, maybe like, how many hours are you watching TV, or how many hours are on your mobile? We just asked them. They said yes, it's happening maybe 5 or 6 hours also. We just under that. But that's fine, absolutely fine. But I think we need to strike a balance somewhere. So I think we need to do something about it. Let's fix those timings. That's what we said. Let us fix those timings, and we ask them when they would like to watch TV, and when they would like to watch that mobile, and what is it that they want to watch it, especially the screen time. Most of the parents, we have problem with the screen time only, rest we can handle. Okay, so we ask them like how they could do that, and when is the wake up time, and when is the lunch time, because like sometimes it is 10 o'clock and sometimes it is 11 o'clock waking up. So we just ask them, when is it, let us fix it. So this is a wake up time, and this is a lunch time, this is a play time, and this is a screen time. These things that came from them actually. We just asked them. We didn't set up a routine. This is the catch. This is the important thing, because especially when we talk about following a routine, especially when we talk about framing rules, people don't like to follow rules because people don't own those rules actually. I mean, like, you can see like traffic rules. I mean, for example, traffic rules. If there is no police constable, there is no traffic rule at all. I mean, like, all lights are green. It's because maybe people feel that deep down inside, they feel that this is not my rule, this is government's rule. Paying income tax is not my rule, this is government rule. We don't own the rules. When we do not own the rules, it is very difficult for us to follow through and then stick to those things. So first thing what we did was, when we were discussing with them, we did not tell anything that this is a waking time, this is what you're doing, this is you should stop doing, this is you should start doing. Nothing from our side. We just asked them, and we were listening. And our kids, they came up with some routine. And yes, somehow within half an hour that routine was established. That's one thing. And second thing is, like, we were flexible with few things. It's not like once the routine is established, you can't expect that to happen just like that. Few things we fixed, like breakfast time, that should happen there, or else they just skip that. Lunch and supper, and then waking up time, bedtime, those 5 things we fixed. And the rest, learning time, we fixed the time, but what they should do during that time, that we kept it like open. So day in, day out, we used to decide that. Okay, and we were day in, day out, we used to decide that screen time, what they should watch and all those things. And let me tell you, they will, even till today, they will have the screen time 2 hours or so. But even that screen time, we have some suggestions. I mean, like 80% of the screen time, we just put in some educational content into that. There's just lot many educational content into that. So even that becomes productive. Even screen time becomes productive. So that's how we have established routines, and we have kept it few fixed, and we have kept few flexible. And that's how we turned that screen time into a productive one. When that is there, and I mean, like if these things come from them, I think the success is more. Children, they're following it, not 100%, I can't say that 100% is happening, but the percentage of kids following that is really high when they establish the routines. That's the point I want to establish. Just number one. Number two, online schooling. For our kids, there's no online schooling as such, but many of the parents are having this issue that right from morning 9 to evening 3, teacher is on laptop and teacher is talking something, and they have to sit here and listen all those things. Let me tell you, it is not possible for everybody to do that. I mean, like, this is my take. I do not know how many of you accept it or not, but it's not possible for all the kids to sit down and learn like that learning mode, they're not habituated. It's really difficult. And sometimes a kid is not able to do that. I think we should think from their perspective, get into their shoes, and then think about it. Sitting in front of a screen and learning, it's not happening. It's okay sometimes if they miss it. Or if you want to compensate that, if the teacher is working on some English grammar or something is happening on photosynthesis, if you want to compensate that, you can do it also with some other online activities or some other online websites and courses. We ourselves, we have listed some 50 plus online resources where we can engage our kids productively. We can make their time productively, and that's how we compensate that. So I think if your child is really 6, 7, 8 years, first, second, third standard, I don't think you need to be very strict making them to sit down in front of the computer and then watch that teacher who's talking and then learn that. And I don't want to fight with my kid there. That's the last thing that I would like to do, fighting with them, wanting to watch that online course, online school and all. But slowly they'll get habituated to that. That's something new actually. And especially if your child is kinesthetic, they want to move around, run around, and then play and all. And I mean, it's like kind of, tying them. I mean, like, it's like tying them, making them to sit down in front of a teacher, and after Telugu, Hindi, and English, it's difficult for them to do it even in the class actually. Now, how can we expect them to do it in online from that laptop watching the teacher? I mean, like, it's really difficult. And I urge parents to be, I mean, like, bit flexible with them. Don't be strict on them. Slowly they learn. We have many other things we can compensate that. But establishing routines really works, because that gives a prior agreement. They know that if okay, tomorrow I'll wake up at this time, okay, this is my screen time, it's given, okay, this is where I have to study. It's like established. That really helps us to tackle our children, especially that's helping us during this lockdown period. I also do this actually. That's also
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shantiswaroop. I'm really, awed by the way you responded to that question. Let children come up with their routines, let them come up with what they want to do, and then let them own up their rules and let them own up what they want to do. So, that was so wonderful and amazing the way you put it. But if only it was so simple, it's if only it was so simple, and you actually gave a very fairy tale answer to the questions to the parents. But life is not fairy tales. What what if our children don't follow the rules which they've made? Like, I understand, like, if they take ownership, it works. But if they set up the rules today and don't take up the ownership after 2 days, what happens? What happens when these routines which they have established are refusing to be followed? So,
yeah. Yeah. Yes. We are living in an actual world. Yeah, in an actual world, things are like this. But that's what I want to point out here. This is an actual world, and we are humans, and it is absolutely human to not follow that routine. I mean, like, let us start from that point. We have established routines, that's fine. But I mean, then I could say that let us have this mindset that they will break that and they will not follow it. That's how it is. And let us come from that point, because even me, I mean, like, I've been meditating for the last 15 years, and till today I miss meditations, morning meditations. Till today, that routine is established. I want to follow that. Till today, sometimes I miss cleaning, and till today, sometimes I miss evening bedtime prayer. These things happen. Even with my routines, I can't keep up my routines 24/7 and 365 days. This is not going to happen, and it's absolutely human. So when you establish a routine, first you keep it in your mind that they're not going to follow that all the time. That is there. So when you start from this standpoint, what happens is, when they do not follow the routine, you don't react. Actually, you don't react. You just pause and you respond. So accepting that then that kids are like this will give you a space to respond and not react. That's an important thing, because everything lies in this one thing. When children do not follow the routine, the problem is how we approach to that and how we deal with that. That is the issue. Most of the parents, they tell once, second they tell again, third they remind, fourth they shout from the kitchen, fifth they come and they just blurt, and then everything falls apart. From tomorrow there is no routine, there's no routine and nothing. It just falls apart just like that. And what you said is very, very important, that when they do not follow routine, what can be done. See, if I take my example, with my kids, uh, see, we thought that they should get up early in the morning, somewhere at 8:30, and then start studying by 10:30. That was done. The next day, what I observed is, my elder child, she was very much active and fine. She got up, she got ready, and she started reading. The problem is with my younger one. She's nocturnal. I know that. She sleeps very late, and she woke up at 9:30, 10, or something like that. I observed it. I did not say anything. I was just observing. Second day, I observed that she was waking up at some 10 o'clock or something like that. Third day, it just crossed the boundary. She woke up somewhere at 11 o'clock, 11:30. And then everybody in the home started shouting, my mother and all, everybody started shouting, what is it that you're not going to do? 11 o'clock you woke up, and when will you? And even after waking up, the thing is, she don't start brushing and all those things. She just lies down on the sofa for some time and then move around for some time, and she don't feel like brushing. Like it's take eternal for us to get ready. And this was happening, and people started shouting on her, but I kept quiet. I thought that it's not that there's something that I should do. But again, after some time, she came to me, I hugged her, and I asked this question. I asked her, like, yes, you couldn't wake up we thought that we should wake up at early, and you couldn't do that. Why is it so? What is happening? And I was really surprised with her answer, actually. She told that, Daddy, I mean, maybe I have a problem sleeping on time, actually. I think maybe you should teach me how to sleep on time early. If you could teach me that, I think I can wake up early. That's the answer that she gave. That's the answer that she gave. And I think that is more important. See, here, I mean, like, we will be more interested on establishing a routine and establishing discipline. But what I feel is, discipline can't be enforced, actually. Discipline should come from within. You can't enforce discipline. You can't stay there with a stick and carrot and enforce discipline. In this case, with my child, I could see the discipline coming from within. She recognized that there's a problem with her waking up time. She could actually pinpoint where problem lies. There's a problem with sleeping time. It's not waking up time. And she was ready to cooperate. She said, you help me dealing with that. So she came to that point. And I think that's a success for me. That's more important than for me to stand there and then with a stick and make her to wake up at 9 o'clock. I mean, like, discipline is starting from within. That's an important point which parents forget. We cannot enforce discipline. And even if you enforce, you can't call that as discipline. Discipline should come from within. It's like, how long can you do that if you really want to do that? If you have to stand there with a stick and carrot, how long can you do? We can't do it for a long time. And if you keep on doing that, at one point it breaks. One point breaks, and you feel that whatever you do, nothing happens. And that's a problem. And most parents will be on a firefighting mode. It's on a firefighting mode. Something comes up, they go and do this. Something comes up, go and do it. Children do not wake up, they go and they fight. Children do not eat, they go and do that. So it's a firefighting mode. We have to stop doing that first. Stop doing that. Okay, establish routine. When things are not happening, again you just connect to them and ask, like, this is what is I noticed, it's not happening, what can be done? Children will come up with their answers, and you will be really surprised if you really do that with your kid. You please do it today. I'm telling you, sit down and ask your child, okay, and ask what can be done if this doesn't happen. They will come up with their own answers. They say that this is a problem I have, maybe this is a solution, I think I have to work on it. That's number one. Number two, sometimes it happens like that screen time, if I say that, like 2 hours is screen time, and they literally cross that. For example, like we are fixed like 2 to 4 is the screen time. Even after 4 o'clock I go, they'll be with the mobile and all. So I just go there, and then if I ask like what happened 4 o'clock, you finished, they said like 5 minutes daddy, 5 minutes, let me continue. And that 5 minutes will slip into 15 will slip into half an hour. We should be like arguing and fighting there. Okay, then that is the dangerous thing, that we should really stop that. When for example, if with this example of screen time, when they are crossing that, I just go there and then I stand there, I just stand there 4 o'clock. I just go and stand there and just give a smile, and then look at them, so that it reminds them that this fellow, we have established routines, and this fellow has come to remind me. And they will definitely try. I mean, they said 5 more minutes, and let's all those things will happen. But I don't give in, and I don't shout, and I don't give up also. It's like I will be firm there, and also with all my love, and with all my kindness, I'll say no. 4 o'clock is 4 o'clock. Screen time is finished and finished. No is a no. I just go there and then stand and give a look, and then I just remind them to the routines. That's the first thing that I do. Remind them to routines. Routines we thought 4 o'clock, and it's 4 o'clock. I stand there. They'll try to do that. They will test us. Let me tell you, they will test us whether this fellow will yield or not. But you stick there with that, with all the firmness and all the kindness, kind and firm. Stick there, and once it gets into that mind that, okay, like I cannot play around now. 4 o'clock is 4 o'clock. If yes is a yes for my father, no is a no for my parents. Once that gets into their mind, discipline is established, and you don't need to do anything. It's like it's an autopilot. Things happening. But for this, you need to practice a little bit. Don't yield to them. Be there firm and kind until that goes in. Okay, so this is what our expertise and our practice comes in. Okay, so if that is done, I think it's easier. It's not that difficult, and it's not even a rocket science. We can learn that just a conscious practice for few days, and it's established.
Thank you so much, Shantiswaroop. I was really blown away by the answer your younger daughter gave you about, help me with sleeping early rather than trying to help me with waking up early. So yeah, I think they come up with solutions themselves, and we only have to allow them to show their intuition to us rather than try to, like, discipline is, if you're able to express your intuition well enough, I think, the aspect of disciplining is achieved. It's not even like it's something to achieve. It's just natural. It just comes along. So thank you so much for sharing the beautiful.
For that, let me add a point here. For that, the most important thing, and the most difficult thing also this. For that, the most important thing is stop telling them all the time. Stop being after them, piggybacking and nagging. If you could just literally stop it, okay, I think most of our problems will be solved. When I attended this workshop, my mentor told me that if you simply stop telling, or he was very blunt, he said that, Shanti, if you can just shut up, let me tell you that 80% of your problems will be solved. That's what he said. And I could see that. I believe that. But this is the difficult thing for parents. They keep on telling that. Okay, that's that. But we'll come to this point again later. But
but we don't want you to shut up now at the webinar. We want you to keep chatting with us, because we have still, a few more questions to be answered. And thank you so much for answering that very beautifully, very poignantly, and it resonates a lot. And I'm sure the parents will be benefited with this response. And if you still have a few more questions, I request the participants to key in the comment section, and Mr. Shantiswaroop and Meera Swaroop would certainly answer your questions. So moving on to the next question, and I want to slightly shift gears here and address Meera Swaroop. So my question to you is, what do you do when children want your constant attention? I know that you're also a working mother, and I'm sure your daughters would want your attention constantly. And you're also a parent coach, and you're also a behavioral therapist. So, what would you do? What would you advise those parents who are asking how to handle the constant attention which my child needs, or rather, needs is not the word, which it demands because it's so used to it. And so, how would you handle that?
Yeah. So, like, I understand it's like, as parents, especially now, right now during this lockdown period, parents all are working at home, and then they have their work with their systems and everything. And even mothers, they are also busy. There are no maids coming, so mothers are also busy working, and children are all the time at home. So I can understand, like, children need our attention all the time, and they come interrupting to us, and then they want to share. So this is what is happening, we can understand. So what can be done? First, we need to see why children need our attention. What happens? Why do they want to come to us? Why they interrupt? We need to see that. And a few ideas what I have observed from my children is like, why do they come and interrupt? Maybe one thing is, maybe they want to share something that is so important for them, and it is like they're so impulsive. They like, just now when I was getting ready with some ppts and all, my daughter, she came, she learned something about some animal, a new adaptation thing of some animal. She wanted to come and share to me. She said, mama, listen. So this is what happens, they are excited, and then they want to come and share that with us. So that is one reason. So we need to understand from their point of view, that is there. The second reason sometimes children, they come, they want our attention, is maybe they have got it as an habit. Okay, it's a habit for them where they crave for our attention, and they feel that I'm important to this family, I am important to my mother only when I am the center of her universe. They feel that I should be the center of everything. Mother shouldn't shouldn't be speaking to someone else on phone for a long time. Or my mom, how can I, like, what will happen if my mom is all the time in the kitchen? I need her time. That's what they feel, children feel. And it might have become a habit for them, craving attention. And whenever we give them attention, they feel that, yes, now I've got importance, so next time when I need it, I'm going to interrupt again. So these might be the reasons, like what I have observed with my kids. These can be the reasons why children interrupt. So what can we do? How can we deal it? One thing is, of course, we need to set boundaries with our children. We need to tell them like they need to wait for their time. Of course, we will be having our special time, but we can't be available with them all the time. Mother has her own time, her own work. Father has her own time, her own work. And you need to learn to have your own time and your own work where you engage by yourself. This setting up of boundary should be done little by little, through training, through practice. This can be done. And suppose we are working and then our children come and interrupt. During that time, when we are in the middle of it, interrupt, during that time, one thing how we can deal is like, what happens is, usually we nag them. After it is done, we go and tell them, how many times I've told you, don't come and disturb me when I'm on a call, or don't come and disturb me when I'm in the kitchen. If we keep nagging them, if we keep telling them, again it becomes a form of attention for the children. Okay, giving them time, they feel that if not giving time positively, at least my mother is there with me, she is giving me some attention by constantly reminding me what should I do, what should I not do. So here what I suggest, what I do with my daughter is, I just let her know that if not now, what other time I'm going to listen to her. Like, while I was preparing for the PPT, if my daughter came and then she was disturbing, what I told her is, see, Nana, right now I'm working with this PPT. I'll come back to you once it is done. Give me some 1 hour time. I'll get back to you. Meanwhile, what do you want to do for this 1 hour? Would you want to learn few more adaptations of few more desert animals so that we can share all together? That's how I asked her. And then she said, yes, yes. And then she just went away. So this happens if we can tell them, uh, ask them to wait and then fix a time where we will have one-on-one special attention with our children. This way, what happens, the craving, the constant craving reduces, and they feel sure that yes, mama is going to spend time with me again, if not now, later. And one more thing, like giving in. If we give in, or whenever they come for attention, if we stop everything and then we go and giving in time, if we keep doing that, the interruptions keep increasing all the more. So we need to understand, and then we need to carry on with whatever we are doing, and then let them know, give a proper message to your child, what is the time when you are going to be with them, and you both look forward to that time. So this is one thing that we do. And yeah, sometimes there are exceptions. There are exceptions where your children are really worried, your children really need your help, and that's when they come to you. And in those exceptions, what I do is I just stop whatever I'm doing right then, and then I am there for them. I give a message for them that way also. Like, if there is something so important, your mother will be there for you. If we can give that message constantly, regularly, I think these interruptions can come down, but it needs practice, it needs training. We need to start off at least one step at a time, one step at a time, because at once it wouldn't stop, but we can work on it together.
I like to add one more point here, especially what psychology says is, see, the birth order also plays a role here in these interruptions and all, especially the firstborn child. Firstborn child, most of them, like 80% of the firstborn children will have this issue. They keep coming in between and interrupting. And if the mother is in some work, or if they are with another child, they keep coming and interrupting. It's like most of them will have this issue, because firstborn child is like until the second came into the family, they were like the king of the family. They're like kind of a king, and it's like they enjoyed everything, all the privilege was them. And when the second came into the family, they feel as if they are dethroned king. Somebody kicked them out of the throne. So they feel that, like all the attention is gone now. It's gone to that new baby. So deep down, when they have this feeling, they feel like coming and interrupting and then grab that attention all the time. Okay, so if it is happening with the firstborn child, if interruptions are happening with the firstborn child, maybe this might be the case. It really helps if you involve them usefully in some works. If you ask their help, that you are just cutting vegetables or the cleaner things, and you just ask them, could you please help me in doing this? They feel that, mama is giving me wonderful attention. Wow, I got that attention back again. Okay, fine. They feel that deep within, and then they do that, and these regular interruptions will come down. That's also one thing that you can think about.
Thank you so much, Meera and Shantiswaroop. Both your perspectives were very useful, very beneficial. And yeah, I hadn't thought of it in the psychological perspective of firstborn and secondborn and so on. So I'm sure that will lend an insight to this. And what you said, Meera, it resonated a lot, that, create boundaries, stick to your boundaries, but at the same time, let them know that boundaries can be crossed as and when the need arises also. So these are all again, like, like I mentioned to Shantiswaroop during, I think, one or maybe a few minutes ago during the first or second question, that these beautiful rules and ideas and strategies which we come up with are extremely beautiful, but they don't work all the time. They work and we try to make them work, and we set our expectations like rock bottom. But sometimes, rock bottom also goes down, further rock bottom with our expectations. So what to do at those times? Like, say, for example, you are interrupted because an emotional meltdown is happening, or some tantrums are happening, or sibling rivalry is happening. And tempers are frayed. Everybody is at their emotional low because we don't have an outside world. We are all in the four walls. Maybe, like, if your house is bigger, it could be, another four walls again. But your social interaction is less. Physical social interaction is less. We don't go out as family. We don't go out, let our children out. for various things. So there are a lot of factors associated which can lead to tantrums, temper tantrums, other types of tantrums, emotional meltdowns, and those are times when you'll definitely be interrupted. And I mean, it's not even about interruption anymore. How would you handle these things? How would you leave all your important PPTs and work and so on? And how would you handle this? Like, it's not a easy textbook answer, but I just want to listen to your perspective.
Yeah, like we need to first see whatever questions you say. First, what I do is I see from child's point of view. Okay, that way what happens is like we are better able to understand the situation. So here, when tantrums, or as you said, emotional meltdowns, we need to understand that they are a form of communication. They are a form of our child wants to communicate something, and they are communicating it in the form of tantrum, or as you said, an emotional meltdown. And it's like they are having a bad day, or they are having like they wanted something and then they didn't get it, and they are not able to communicate as we can do it. And that's how they do all that. They exaggerate, and then they fall on the floor, they beat, and then they cry, or they pinch whoever is there, they throw things around. To understand, it's not like they want to disturb us or interrupt us. It's a form of communication where they are not able to handle their own feeling. Whatever is happening with them, they are unable to handle. First, we need to look at it from that point of view. If we can see that from that point of view, what happens is we won't be reacting them at that point, and we won't feel that anger coming within us when we see that is happening. Here, I would like to tell one thing. Children, especially little children who are very young kids, they have a certain way of mirroring our emotions actually. So if we get angry, or if we are disturbed, if we are tensed, automatically from our body language they get it, and they try to mirror that. So here, we need to be very careful with how we are with our personal setup, how we are before them when we are talking to them. So they mirror us, and then that's how the tantrums start actually. They get the vibration around us, whatever is happening. So if we are like connected, if we are calm and quiet, automatically the number of times these tantrums come, they reduce at home. I would say that. So, but one few things that we can do to avoid. First one was be calm and quiet, be centered to yourself. That works. But few things where we can avoid these tantrums is uh, like stop trying to say no to your children. Instead of saying no for everything, try to say yes. That way, they feel that their feelings are getting validated. For example, like I made upma the other day, and my daughter said, I don't want to have upma, I want to have puri. So instead of saying, no, you can't have upma, you can't have puri, you have to have this right now, instead of saying it firmly, I tell, oh, yes, I do want to have puri. Why not make it for dinner? Let us have this now and we'll make it for dinner together. Would you like to help me make those small balls? So instead of saying no, if we can make a habit of turning our conversations into a yes, then we have chances of less tantrums coming up. And one more, as Shanti told in the beginning, like children have the solutions. The solutions are there with them. So we just need to ask them. Instead of telling them, commanding them, and then giving orders to them, you do this, you do that, get this done, get that done, why this is not done. We keep on telling these things. What happens is they create that stress in children actually. They feel that somebody is there bossing around me all the time, and that's how the stress gets, like the pressure gets increased, and it blasts in the form of a meltdown. So let us keep our telling things to as less as we can, the ordering, the commanding, and instead start asking them. After playing, what do we do with our toys? Toys are here in the hall. What can be done with these toys after you have played? You can gently ask them, and or you can just have a sense of humor. Oh, I can't step on the floor. I can't see where the floor is. Can you just show me the floor? We can have some humor and then do that. This way, what happens is they feel that okay, they feel comfortable staying at home also all the time. This is they. And one more thing I would say, uh, yeah, we can sense before they are going to start a tantrum as parents. We can sense that okay, he's about to get angry, he's about to get upset, now the tantrum is going to come. We can sense that, and immediately when parents can sense that, if we go and then just pat the kid and then acknowledge his feeling, instead of telling you are not going to get angry, how come you get angry, how come, don't be so sad, instead of telling all that, if we can acknowledge their feeling, i understand I understand you wanted to watch mobile for 10 more minutes, I can understand. And or you can say, I understand you wanted to watch that cartoon for 10 more minutes, and now it is like our dinner time. So if you can acknowledge their feelings, and then like children, more than our words, they watch our body language actually. So sometimes we are very nice with our words, but our body language gives a different message actually. Like we are, that tension shows up in our face actually. So it's a practice. I know like what I'm saying might seem a fairy tale, but it needs practice. It won't start off immediately. We need to, and we are human. We can't have that calm all the time, but we can practice that. That's why all this heartfulness meditation and all these, that the role comes there, where we can start the day with the right attitude, and we can try to keep that calm for a longer time. So if we can have that quiet and calm with that gesture, with that right body language, if we can approach our kid, the kid gets the message that yes, my feelings are important, okay, fine, so let me not throw a tantrum, my mother understands me, my mother loves me, so let me not throw a tantrum. And one more thing I would like to tell, like whenever your children emotionally they burst down or they throw a tantrum, there are people or there are parents who give them what they want just to stop it for that moment. They give in. They say if they are crying for a chocolate or something, they say just a chocolate, let's give it. And that's when they catch the message that yeah, if I do it like this, my mother is going to yield to it, so let me try it again, let me try it again. And that's how the repetitive thing comes up every day. Some 5 6 times they start throwing tantrums then. So instead of yielding in, if we can lovingly, if we can go and tell them like, yeah, I know you want a chocolate, but we have all had already 2 chocolates, so give them choices then. Why? What else would you like to have? Would you like to have a cookie or something else? If we can give them the choices still, instead of we having the power, give them like set a boundary and let them make a choice instead of this what else. And give the power to them at the same time, and be firm also. Do not yield in also. If we can do in different ways, I think it helps. And something like rationally talking to them when they are in the middle of a meltdown, it doesn't help at all, because they are not in a mood to rationally talk it out. So it's better we keep calm and then just sit beside them. I do that in my preschool, where children are fighting, or if they have an emotional meltdown, somebody is crying loudly. If you go and talk with them, it aisa nahi beta, waisa nahi. If you go and tell them, it doesn't help. So just sit with them and then tell them that I am there for you. Give that message, and then kindly and lovingly share that feeling with them, whatever they are going through, and then acknowledge that feeling. Don't say you're not supposed to have that. That doesn't help actually. Share that feeling, acknowledge, validate, and then be loving at that time. All they want is that love. That is why they do that tantrum. So by this I would like to, I think I have answered this thing.
No,
Yeah.
Purnima, I would like to add one more point to what Meera said, that love part. See, that's what we have experienced in our life. If nothing works, nothing is working, love works. Okay, especially these tantrums and all we have with younger kids, those are below 6 years, 7 years, younger kids. That's how they throw these tantrums. And if you see that nothing is working, nothing is happening, what I suggest is just go to them, sit down, come to their level, just like ask for a hug. Stretch your arms and say, I need a hug, I need a hug. Then you can see that immediately they'll do that. And if they don't give you a hug, ask again, I need a hug. And 99.99% they'll give you a hug, and then tantrums will stop. And if still it continues, you say that I need a hug and I'll be there. Whenever you're ready to give a hug, you come and find me, and just go, walk away. They just keep running behind you and they just give you a hug, and tantrum is gone. Because we can like redirect them very easily at that age. So nothing works, love works. Love is a very, very powerful emotion. That's what we are practicing in our heartfulness. That's what we are doing it there. So you can use it even in parenting.
One thing I would like to add, when you said initially, they are at home, so their physical energies are not getting channelized also. Maybe that is also a reason where they are having these meltdowns. So let us plan some physical activities at home also. We can, as parents, together at least sometime in the evening or 1 hour, plans a proper physical where all those energies that are there, because children are full of that vibration, they're full of that activeness, and they need an outing for that, outlet for that. So we need to give them that. Plan some activities, obstacle course inside the house. I've been seeing so many in the social media platform, so many nice activities coming up. Plan something together, play with a ball or something, so that all those energies get channelized.
Thank you so much, Meera and Shantiswaroop. Like I'm not going to say fairy tale answer. I'm really bowled over by your responses, because basically what you said is like, let us first become good human beings and then let's worry about parenting and kids, because like, let me trace back what you said. So Meera, you said about using humor to deflect a situation, like, I can't even, can you find some space in the floor for me to keep my foot on instead of Lego carpet or something. And then you mentioned about how to sense their feelings, how to sense that the breakdown or the meltdown is just about to begin. And you also mentioned about being kind and looking at things from their perspective, which is basically improving our emotional quotient and trying to be more compassionate, because with the self, they say, and if it should begin with your own progeny, and then perhaps it can envelop the world. So these are all pointers for me to become a better human being, to me, to improve my interpersonal relationship. It's one thing to improve it with unknown strangers, and it's one thing to improve it with it's probably simpler and easier to improve myself using my children as I don't know, props, but if that is me become a better human being, certainly I should utilize this opportunity. Along the same lines, I would like to ask you the next question, whomever wishes to answer. How, sometimes when I get pressed, when I get pushed, when I use my
voice is getting cut now.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah.
So my question was, suppose my buttons are getting pushed. If I'm about to have an emotional meltdown, what then? How can we try to regain our balance, our calm as parents? How can I get balanced? I don't want to, display a tantrum or an emotional meltdown. So let's see how we can address that as parents.
Yeah.
Because a lot of parents had sent us that I can't handle this anymore. What do we do? And I think I'm at my wit's end. So these were a few questions which we kept receiving. So I think, answering at least 5 or 10 queries like this would really be beneficial.
So again, let me just share my personal experience. Whatever I am doing with myself and my kids, let me share that. So yes, there are instances where, I lose my calm, I lose my temper, and I shout on kids. And it really helps if when we think, why do we do that? Why do we shout or yell on our children? Why is it? What are those deep down fears? See, it's like, I thought it many times, I really love my kids. Those are my two darlings, actually. I really love my kids. And if you come to me and ask me, like, Shanti, like, why are you working? What is the point? I could say that all this work is for my children. That's what I'm doing. Those are my world. I mean, like, they're center of my world, actually, my kids. And even still, then even then I shout on them. And there are instances where I went to bed feeling guilty that, why did I do this? Those things are there. But let me come back to this question. Why do we do that? On the outside, it seems as if, like, we normally yell because they did something wrong, and then we wanted to, we were trying to address that. And maybe because of the work stress or whatever. So that's what, that's how it looks on the outside. But in inside, I think there are strong deep down beliefs or deep down fears. I think so. See, parents, they yell and shout on a kid to correct them. They go and they tell them once, twice, thrice, and doesn't happen. And then this behavior comes out. They shout at the yell to correct a child, because maybe we think deep down, we think that, see, if I won't correct this fellow now, this is going to continue now. And for example, a child lied now. He lied, and then if I don't correct this fellow now, he's going to continue this behavior again forever. That's one trigger point that we have, deep down fear. And if I don't do anything now, if I don't correct him now, maybe I'm not doing my responsibility as a parent. I have to do it. I have to correct it now. These are the two deep down beliefs or fears, if we like to call. These things will trigger that emotion that, I have to do it now, and then we shout and yell. That's one thing. But one thing that we should remember here is, we should correct our child. Correction is required. I'm not saying no. Correction is required. But before correcting, we need to connect to a child. Connection is more important. Connect before you correct. So if you can understand this, at least we can take a step back and see what can be done. So without connecting, how much ever you shout, how much ever you yell, correction doesn't happen. Even if correction happens, that happens for this moment. And you have to keep yelling and shouting continuously, and then it continues. It's like on a firefighting mode. That's what I said. The sign is like, you can check back. If you are yelling and shouting for the same behavior over and over and again for the last 4 or 5 years, that itself shows that the behavior is not corrected. And where all those yelling and shouting has gone, it didn't work at all, actually. Okay, so we should understand this, that whatever we are doing is not working. And why we are doing is that we have that deep down fear that I have to correct this child now. Yes, absolutely fine, fantastic, we have to correct. But connect to that child before correcting. If you do not connect and you try to correct him, correction doesn't happen. And even if it happens temporarily. Okay, that's why I'm re-emphasizing this point. Okay, that's there. If you understand, then there is an opportunity for us to stop and then respond, not react. I always remember these traffic signals, traffic lights in my mind. Red says stop. That's what we learned in the school. Red says stop. And the yellow says be ready, and then green says go. Okay, so one thing happens, that something happens, my child is not listening to me and watching the TV continuously. I just go, and then before yelling, if I remember this, okay, red says stop. Okay, if I'm shouting and things are not happening, let me calm down. That's number one. Then I think, what can be done? This is not happening, what can be done? Maybe I should connect to that child, and you should ask. The example that I've given with the younger kid. Okay, sit down and then ask. When you go into this mode, you will understand what can be done with your child. You can sit down and ask, and they can come with a resolution. But this we can practice. Stimulus and response. That's what we call in psychology. Child shouted, and that's a stimulus, and immediate and in between the stimulus and response, there's a space. If you can take that space, we can calm down. This is a practice that I do, and this will help. And the thing that helped me immensely is our heartfulness practice. When I do meditation, morning meditation, I'm in that constant remembrance, and with that connecting myself when with if I'm dealing with my child. Now I think it stopped many times me from behaving awkwardly with my child and later feeling guilty. Our practice, our meditation, being in that state, it helped a lot. So I think these two things are really important, which can help us to calm down at that moment. And if now and then, if it happens, that's fine. We are human. I mean, like, we are human. Anger is human. We can't completely take out that. Now and then it happens. Last time when I shouted on my child, and I thought, oh, I mean, like, oops, I did that. Once I realized, then I consciously make an effort to repair that again. Okay, at night I sit with my child and say that maybe it's okay to say sorry, and I say that fine, like I shouted, I would have told you without yelling, but I yelled at you. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry, but this is the issue. You are not following the routine. That's why it happened. What can be done? So that's how when I speak, things get resolved. Even after shouting, after yelling, we can again correct the things. Consciously, we can do that. Okay. So these 3 points I just want to say about this element.
Yeah, so one thing I would like to add here is like, yeah, we all have our bad time, bad days also, when we are stressed and then like we are not in our calm, isn't it? There are days like that. Like what I suggest is like as much as possible during these days, if we don't talk at all anything, if we are quiet, we can resolve those issues the other time when we are in our own self, when we are not stressed, when we are emotionally balanced. We can resolve those issues when we are in a balanced state. Okay, instead of rupturing the relationship when we are in the middle of a meltdown. So I usually do that. Like if once I recognize that I'm getting stressed, or this is like enough for me for now, I can't handle it, I just quietly go some music, I listen, I calm down. Instead of I just feel let the mess be there. Whatever the mess, let it be there. It's like it is not that important for now. If the house is in a mess, let it be in a mess. Let me calm down and then later resolve it. So sometimes it helps for me actually.
The same thing with both of us actually, even not only the kids. It's the same thing with us. Sometimes I get irritated on my wife, and sometimes she gets irritated. When that's happening, one just a conscious movement will help us. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm gonna shout now. Step back, and later I can correct my wife. No problem. Yeah, can I? Just kidding.
Not
Just kidding.
bad.
Just kidding. Just kidding. But
Okay.
this is important. Later we can correct. If you are leaving it now, doesn't mean that we are just leaving the child just like that. We can correct that.
Okay.
But connection is important. We can get to that
So
state.
Meera, you know what to do after the webinar is over. Okay. So So thank you so much, Meera and Shantiswaroop. That was indeed so amazing and so beautiful. And I don't know who is going to correct whom after the webinar is over. But yeah, we need to bring in a little bit of humor and little bit of fun in our life. And that includes ourselves, our spouses, children. And as a family, we need to look at things in a more objective manner rather than, being a perfect family. Let's be a happy family. So I loved your message and I loved your family. I loved you both as a couple sharing a lot of parenting tips. So could you also, this is my last question to you, could one of you take this up and could you also share a few um, heartful suggestions or a few very deep, poignant things which we can share with our children, which will establish this role of connection a little bit more. It can establish this connection part with our children because you did mention that before we start doing any corrective action or before we start looking at our parenting strategies, we need to first connect with our child. So would you like to talk a little bit about this and let's conclude our webinar with this? Do you have any suggestions to offer?
Yes. So as I said, whatever I've learned on parenting, if you ask me, everything can be boiled down to that one thing called connection. If you can establish, have that connection with our children, that deeper heart-to-heart connection, I think the rest, I think, will be taken care of itself. We can manage it easily, all the tantrums and whatever it is. So having that connection is important. And this lockdown period, this COVID-19 lockdown period, I think it has given us time and space to improve that bonding with our children. So I really request the parents, those who are listening to this, those who are watching this, I really request you that consciously make some effort in connecting to your child. You can connect to them physically, sit beside them, and connect to them mentally, and then ask them what is happening in their world, and then play some games, uh, play with them some game that they like, connect with them mentally, and then even we can connect with them spiritually, that heart to heart. As we are all heartful practitioners, I think we can do that. I think we can make it as a daily routine. I think after meditation we can do that, that have that positive affirmations, or I can say heartful affirmations, and then have the feeling that you are connected to your child heart to heart. And if you can do that, that will establish a strong bondage, a wonderful connection with our children, and the rest everything will be taken care. So let us practice it. As Purnima said, let me give you these heartful affirmations. And if you are watching it, I request you to just sit down quietly, close your eyes, and then follow my I will be giving you this affirmation. I'll be telling you, just follow me, that's all. Let us practice it now online. Okay, so sit down quietly, calmly, just gently close your eyes. Do it along with me. Just gently close your eyes. Just calm down. Breathe in and breathe out. You're quiet and calm. Bring your attention to your heart. Feel that inner connection, the divine connection in your heart, and feel the love in your heart. And the love is flowing from your heart to the heart of your child. And you both are deeply connected. You can tell to yourself, I am deeply connected with everyone around me, everything surrounding us, the air particles, people, birds, trees, everything around me is deeply connected. I am genuine in my thinking. All human beings are developing correct thinking, right understanding, and an honest approach to life. They are attaining rightness in action and perfection in character. I'm calm, clear, and confident with my words and deeds. I'm happy, joyful, and grateful for all my life experiences. I'm becoming more empathetic, compassionate, and loving. I'm balanced. I meditate. So let us thank for this wonderful connection that happened. Thank you. These are the affirmations, heartful affirmations given by Daji. I will share these things in the chat. You can practice it. I think we can make it as a daily practice. After meditation, we can just connect to a child, and we can connect with everybody also. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing those full affirmations. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a Pleasure listening to you. It's been wonderful to listen to your suggestions and tips and insights into this whole parenting universe. Um, Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Purnima. And thank you, Heartfulness and Wellness. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daj.
So these webinars are an ongoing series from the Heartfulness Wellness team. And if you would like to know more about other initiatives, or if you have any personal questions on for your well-being, you can always write to us at wellness@heartfulness.org. The Heartfulness Institute also offers a lot of opportunities for us to connect and get benefited. There is a mobile app, Hearts app, which you can use for your daily meditation practice. A trainer is always available all the time, and you can avail the services. And there are Udemy courses available. The Heartfulness magazine is free of cost, but e-magazine is free of cost to download. There are 3 free meditation masterclasses by Daji, which you can check out in this link, heartfulness.org/masterclass. So these are few more resources which are displayed on the screen. There are wellness webinars, there are Hello Life, there is Tune Into Your Heart with Dr. Icha KIDZ, there is Glow webinars, Pearl webinars, and there is Livecast. In the time of social distancing, you can connect heartfully. We also have the COVID-19 Relief Fund, which are donations. We solicit donations from our practitioners, from anybody who would like to help us. We use these donations to provide so much for the society. Right now, we are providing food and other resources for a lot of organizations and for the general public. There is Voice That Cares helpline, and there is Universal Prayer also. So in the same series, the next webinar is Work-Life Balance, and we hope to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. It's been a wonderful time with Shantiswaroop and Meera Swaroop. Thank you so much.